What's up, fam? Hey, listen, man, you ever wonder why people are drawn to the sport of boxing? You know, what makes someone wants to see a fight? You know, I can remember back in grade school, man, when, these two kids was getting it on in a lunch yard, lunchtime, recess. Everybody wanted to gather around and see the fight. Everybody wanted to see it. Whether you're in the hood, two dudes knuckling up, man, getting busy, it draws crowds. People want to see it. It goes back to the gladiator days with the Romans, man. These guys get in there and practically kill each other for other people's entertainment, and people want to see it. You know what I'm saying? You always got a guy who's the baddest. You always got a guy who's been whooping ass. I mean, everybody's ass. Has not looked vulnerable. Just been knocking everybody out. Slamming them on the head. You know what I'm saying? Just totally domination from his part. We're going to call him Errol Spence. Then you got another guy across town who's been doing the same thing. Whooping ass. Knocking people out. He may have took a couple L's. But everybody knows this dude got heart, man. This dude gonna come to fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call him Shawn Porter. What happens when these two dudes from these two different neighborhoods who's been whooping ass, everybody know both of them's tough, when they meet up? They meet up. Now, Shawn Porter fights Errol Spence. They from different spots, different places. Everybody knows Shawn Porter's tough. Everybody know Errol Spence never lost, and he's going to go in there and whoop ass. You know what I'm saying? So these dudes get the rumbling. But Errol is taking shots that people, we ain't used to seeing them taking these shots. We ain't used to seeing them, look a little vulnerable here and there. We used to seeing him going and punishing people. Total domination, man. But he won the fight. He won the fight against Shawn Porter, but he looked vulnerable during that fight. Now, Tough Tony over here, he sees that Earl's a little vulnerable. Now he wants a piece of him. Now he wants to try him. He didn't want to try him before, but now he wants to try him. That guy is Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia seen a little vulnerability in Errol Spence, and now he wants to try him. He thinks that he can go in there and win against Errol Spence, which he may. But the question is, can Danny Garcia really go in there and dethrone the unified welterweight champion, Errol Spence?
Okay, what they say, I'm not sitting there.
And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance, and boxing fans joining us around the world, it's showtime!
Welcome to Big Faces Worldwide, where we talking nothing but this boxing, man. What's good, fam? Hey, listen, man, first off, I want to welcome everybody to the channel. And if you're new here, I want you to be here. So think about hitting that subscribe button as we stay knee deep into this boxing conversation, man. Now, Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia, man, these two was supposed to fight January 25th. This was before Earl's car accident. This was before all the coronavirus stuff. These two were on a head-on collision to fight each other. And, still are, after, everything is cleared up with the coronavirus. Errol Spence is looking to fight, if not Manny Pacquiao, he's looking to fight Danny Swift Garcia, man. Now, a lot of people just think that Errol is going to go in there and punish Danny Garcia. I don't see that to be the case. Not saying Errol can't win, not saying Danny will win, but I'm just saying that I think it would be a more competitive fight than people are talking about, man. Danny Garcia, I do admit, before Errol Spence and Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, it didn't seem like he wanted to mention Errol Spence's name. It seemed like he was hesitant to bring up the truth, man. When the truth's name was brought up, Danny Garcia would say, I'll fight anybody. Whoever they line up, I never turned down a fight. I'll fight anybody. But he never said, I want to fight Errol Spence. Give me Errol Spence. It wasn't until Spence and Porter fought, and we all seen Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter. They had their own little podium, and they was not calling the fight, but in between rounds, and they would go to Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, and I forget who it was, somebody else. Well, anyway, these two guys, they're looking at. They both picked Spence to win. I'm gonna say that they both put Spence to win. And when they seen that Shawn Porter was able to touch up Errol Spence a little bit, their eyes got big, man. Especially Danny Garcia. He couldn't even contain himself. He was rocking in the chair and shit. You know what I'm saying? Danny Garcia was excited because he didn't expect Shawn Porter to put up the kind of resistance that he did. And when he seen that, he said, oh, man, this guy can get hit. This guy likes to fight, If he get hit by a guy like me, who has more power, then maybe I can knock his ass out. This is all going on in the mind of Danny Garcia, man. So Danny Garcia, after the fight, he jumped up in the ring, pretty much how Spence did Porter to get his fight. Danny Garcia jumped his ass to the ring and said, I want this fight next. You could see the excitement in his eyes, like, this guy is human. This guy is, he is capable of bleeding. He is just a man. This is what Danny Garcia is saying, man. He challenges Errol Spence. Errol Spence, he said how tables turn. Before Errol Spence was the one that was calling everybody out, that nobody wanted to face. Now you got guys calling Errol Spence out. For one, they see that Errol can get hit a little bit. Errol does like to fight. And for two, they know if you fight Errol Spence, you're probably going to get a real nice payday. Probably your career high payday to this point, depending on who you are. Obviously, not Manny Pacquiao, but Danny Garcia to go up against Errol Spence, the fight probably would be on pay-per-view. Probably would be Danny Garcia's biggest matchup. You understand what I'm saying? How do these two guys match up? You know what I mean? Or what do the tail of the tape look like? Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. First, let's start with Danny Garcia, man. Danny Garcia is 36-2 with 21 knockouts. He's 32 years old. He has 38 professional fights with 258 rounds. 13 years as a pro. He fights out of the orthodox stance. He's 5'8" with a 68.5-inch reach. And Danny is a multi-division champion. Errol Spence Jr. Now, Errol is 26-0 with 21 KOs. He's 30 years old. He got 26 fights with 120 rounds. He's been a pro for 8 years. He fights out of the southpaw stance. He's 5'9.5" with a 72-inch reach. He is currently the unified champion with the IBF and WBC title. Welcome back. Now, the experience factor, as you've seen, definitely goes to Danny Garcia, man. Danny Garcia has been in more fights, 12 more fights than Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? He's been a pro 5 years longer than Spence. You know what I mean? He's been in more significant fights than Errol Spence, man. He fought bigger names than Errol Spence. Although they was at the, lower weight divisions, Danny Garcia has been to the dance before. You understand what I'm saying? Danny Garcia has a total of 258 rounds. Errol Spence has something like 120, something like that. So Danny Garcia got like 130, 140 more rounds in than Errol Spence. Now, one can look at that and say, that's wear and tear on Danny Garcia. That favors Errol Spence. Or somebody else may say, listen, that's experience. Errol Spence been going in here knocking out people. He's 26-0, 21 knockouts. So he's not used to going into deep waters like Danny Garcia is. That could be a blessing or it could be a curse. Now, we've seen him in deep water. We've seen him with Kell Brook. We see him go to get distance with Mikey Garcia and recently Shawn Porter. But then you got to look at the height differential. Errol Spence is 5'9.5". Danny Garcia is 5'8". There's not a big height differential. There's, 1.5 inches. But the reach Danny Garcia got what, a 68 and a half inch reach. Errol Spence has a 72 and a half inch reach. So he got almost 72 inch, something like that. He almost got a 4-inch reach advantage over Danny Garcia. He's a southpaw. He's a southpaw, which can give Danny Garcia some problems, man. Both guys are what? Danny's 32, Earl's 30. So in the age department, man, you can't really count that, man. Both guys are around the same age. You know what I mean? Spence is undefeated. Danny, when he stepped up to the top level in the welterweight division, he came up short. He came up short when he fought Keith Thurman, and he came up short when he fought Shawn Porter. Those guys have different styles than Errol Spence. Errol Spence, I've seen different facets to Errol Spence's game. And Mikey Garcia, I've seen Errol box brilliantly. I've seen him move in, move out. Keep popping that jab out there. That jab was a key into shutting down anything Mikey Garcia wanted to do. Was Errol Spence's jab. Jab, take a half step back, jab. You know what I mean? His jab is going to play key in a fight with Danny Garcia. Now, where Earl may get in trouble is Earl likes to mix it up sometimes, and we all know Danny Garcia is a hell of a counterpuncher. Danny Garcia has some of his best knockouts after somebody try to hit him. His counterpunching is amazing, man. That no look hook, as they like to call it, man, puts people to sleep. And we seen Nat Earl buzz. I won't say he was buzzed. I don't think he was hurt, but we seen him stunned, a couple times in a fight with Shawn Porter, man. I seen, Shawn Porter would hit him, and a few times, like, Earl just, stopped in his tracks. Shawn let off a couple more punches. You know what I'm saying? Now, what if that was Danny Garcia, who I believe has more punching power than Shawn Porter? How does Earl's chin hold up to that? Up until this point, Earl has shown an ironclad chin. You know what I'm saying? But, Danny does hit hard. Everybody that faced him admitted that Danny hits hard. Keith Thurman, he said Danny hits hard. Shawn Porter said Danny hits hard. Amir Khan, Danny hits hard. Lucas Matisse, who was, considered to be one of the hardest punchers in the business back when Danny Garcia fought him, man. Danny Garcia took his best shot. You know what I mean? And, end up getting Lucas Matisse out of there. Can he do the same to Errol Spence? Can Earl go in there and get him out? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a hell of a matchup, man. I can't wait to see this fight, man. Hopefully it gets made. You know what I mean? A lot of people ain't calling for it. Of course we want to see Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. That's number one on my list. I would love to see Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford before anybody. But if he does not get Terrence Crawford, if he does not get Manny Pacquiao, then why not Danny Garcia? Why not? A lot of people don't want to see it. I don't understand why. I think it is a very intriguing matchup. I think Danny Garcia, man, he presents some obstacles for Errol Spence, man, just because of his counterpunching ability, because of his power. I think that, his best shot is to try to catch Earl in the exchange and try to catch him with something big and hurt him. I don't think he can outbox Earl. If it goes to decision, I would favor Errol Spence. You understand me? Earl may be able to get him out of there also. You know what I'm saying? I would favor Errol Spence in this fight. I'm going to favor Errol Spence, but I think it's like a 60-40 fight. I'm not going to say I'm not going to say Earl would be a big favorite in my book. He might be on the bookies or to you, but in my book, I don't see Earl as a huge favorite against Danny Garcia. I see him as a favorite, but I don't see him as a huge favorite. I don't know if Danny can dethrone Earl. I don't know. We just have to wait and see. But listen, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. If you're on social media, check me out on Twitter. Check me out on Instagram at Big Faces Worldwide, all one word. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, man. If you're on here, man, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, man. I really appreciate it, man. And we're going to keep it pushing. In the meantime and in between time, stay blessed and keep on supporting this sport that we love. called boxing. Peace. I'll holler back.